placement talks to TKM, and we went to SCT. I came to SCT. We all. So I usually start off the talk. Like I do the main part of things. So I this time we came to SCT, TKM, NSS Palakkad, NIT Calicut. So, and also I think just, yeah, right. So anybody who knows me on this call, anybody who knows me before, probably I have a couple of my friends on this call, but other than that, anybody who we have met before sometime, anybody like that. I've seen this Pranav somewhere, I don't know where.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi Pranav.
Hi.
I don't know how I know you. It's like deja vu. I see your name and I don't know, I just know you. Did you come for yesterday's call, or like I don't know how I know you?
No, ma'am, I'm a part of IEEE Kerala.
Okay.
I'm the ACC.
Yeah, all right, okay. I think I saw you somewhere like that. Okay, cool. Keertana, Jyotsna, Malavika, like it's mostly girls on this call, right?
Yes, ma'am. We actually opened the competition exclusively for girls.
Okay.
So the majority of the participants will be girls, probably.
Yeah, great, good to know. But again, I think there are a couple of guys as well. But I'm very upset that nobody is speaking. Usually when I go on a call, my first agenda is that by the end of the call, we all become friends, right? I don't think that is happening because nobody is opening up. See, but I can say one more thing. Okay, if you guys are talking to me on this call, even after the session, if you want me to help you with any of your HR interviews, any of your CV building, any of if you want to do salary negotiation, you should know that. So that I am really good with salary negotiation and stuff like that. So if you in future, if you want any advice or if you want to know how to go about a salary negotiation and things like that, I can always help you. So please feel free to talk to me. It does not look good when I talk on my own and there's no response from the other side.
Don't worry, Catherine. By the time the session's over, all of them are going to be great friends. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Okay, so if you're okay with it, we'll start.
Yeah, let's start. Okay, so before we start, I would really want at least 4-5 people to tell me what they expect from the session, because even if I say paradigm shift in HR, okay, which is basically
Catherine.
Yes.
Would you allow me to introduce everybody first?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah.
A warm welcome to all the participants who've joined here today. I welcome you all to this great session. First, I would like to welcome Shankar sir, Chair, Students Activities Committee, IEEE Kerala Section. And I would also like to welcome the VSACs, Jyotsna ma'am, Sean sir, and Anu ma'am for joining despite their hectic schedule, and thank them for also giving us this platform to bring this event to life. Next, I find immense pleasure in introducing our guest or speaker for the day, Catherine Francis, HR Business Partner, Accubits Technology Private Limited. She is an electronics and communications engineer from NIT Calicut who deeply admired the HR field, just like we said before. She's a friendly, strong-natured manager and a HR strategist. She began her career as an assistant manager and a people's operation. As a woman, challenging the status quo. Her core competencies include campus branding and hiring, strategic partnership relations, and performance management. We're truly glad to have you here, ma'am. Over to you, Catherine.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. All right. Welcome all the student teacher representatives on the call. Thank you for that. Thank you for the opportunity. IEEE as well. Sorry for the uncontinued speech in the beginning. That's how I usually do it. But so before we start the entire topic called HR, I'm very happy that this talk happens in a time where Women's Day also happened on Sunday. I mean, sorry, Mother's Day also happened on Sunday. So I'm very happy that I'm doing this particular interaction with you guys somewhere close by Mother's Day, because me as a person, I believe that HR is a lot to do with motherhood. So even on my presentation, Ganga, can you just share that PPT? So even on my PPT, I put it specifically like, spot the HR. So usually when I start talking, I usually want the audience also to tell me what is their expectation, because HR having that is a very, it's a very huge and wide in domain. So when you say HR, it's about a lot of things. But if you can specifically tell me what you're looking for, probably I could have spoken more about it. But having said that, let's just go forward with it. So can we just go to the next slide? Yeah, so I had said spot the HR on this PPT for a matter. Can somebody tell me, I have a thought which connects motherhood with HR. Anybody who can, relate with that thought? Anybody on this call who can relate with that thought? Anybody at all?
Okay, I'll give it a go.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so in this, I feel the mother is the HR.
Yeah.
Because generally in a family, like, I don't know, I feel like she connects everyone, so she has to deal with the children, then the spouse and their parents. So I feel like that,
Yes.
probably.
Right. Abhirme, thank you so much for that. I completely agree to that point. So my idea with HR and motherhood is that I feel like all of us, wherever we go, we look for a family, right? If it's school, whether it is college, whether it is office, wherever we go, we look for a family. And when you come to an organization, right? So probably in your late 20s and things like that, you come to a point where you start spending 80% of your time with your organization rather than with your family. So you will definitely look for a family there. And I think HR is that one person that connects or brings people together. So in my idea, so my thought is this, okay? My thought is that in a family, there is a mother, in a conventional, typical Indian family or in a Malu family, from what I have seen, there's a mother, then there is the dad, and then there is the kids. So basically, I connect kids as employees, and then I connect the father as the top management. Because probably always the kids will come and tell you that I want to get that, I want to buy this, I want to get a bike, or I want to get this, and all kinds of things. They'll come and tell the mom, and then the mom goes and tells the dad, he says that he wants a bike, and my dad will, the dad will like, no, we can't get it now. Ask him to score so much in his study, so we'll give him that, or what. All this kind of conversation happens through mom, because basically she is the person who can put things in a more nicer way, so there are no problems, right? So I think this is the role that an HR does in an organization. She brings the family together. She gives the sense of belongingness to people, for people in an organization. So I always say this, like, for example, the employees will come to you and say, the organization is not doing a great job, or the hikes were low, or that was is some kind of, or they'll say, we are working too much on the project. All these kind of complaints will come to you, and you will go to the top management and say, employees have these kind of issues, and they'll tell you, probably ask them to take up more responsibilities. This is not the time, and all these kind of things. Even when an exit happens, or when a hiring happens, or all these kind of happens, you are the person who talks. You are the middle person. So that is basically the role that an HR does in an organization. If you ask me, what is the higher level of understanding, if you ask me, HR from a fundamental understanding of HR is that he or she brings the family together. So there is no gender bias. When I said motherhood with HR, what I meant is that whole concept of motherhood connects a lot with HR, right? Okay, so that is how I connect myself with HR. So one example that I would like to cite from my life is that probably one of the reasons that I came down to HR is also that, even when I was a kid, like I think probably when I was in 5th or 6th standard, I remember the teacher usually asks you, what do you want to become, right? So when, what is your ambition? What do you want to become? I remember everybody in my class said pilot or doctor, engineer, things like that. I remember I said mother. So one of my friends who's a girl, she came and told me, Catherine, you can't become a mother. It is not a profession. So I was like, that's the only conversation I remember. But I still remember how she gladly told me, you can't, mother is not a profession. So all right. So there is a current change that happened, but I hope my voice is clear. Is my voice okay?
Yeah, you're fine.
All right. Okay. All right. Sorry. So I still remember that, that particular point that we spoke that particular day. I think that was somewhere with me all through my life. And I figured out a role like that also. Probably that is something that happened like very long time back. But I always probably one reason why I stand out in HR is because probably having very low experience is also because of the fact that I really like bringing people together. And, I always like networking and being in the middle of, being that happy person who can make things better. All right, so that is a little bit about me. Now, coming down to the HR in detail, next slide, probably. All right. So coming down to HR in detail, if any of you can tell me what you understand about HR, or what do you think an HR does in an organization other than this mother concept? What do you think that an HR actually does in an organization, whether it's recruitment, all these kind of things? Anybody who can tell me a little bit other than the main coordinators, anybody who can tell me anybody who has a special interest in HR? Because I remember, sorry, I'll give you some time after this. So I remember when I was doing my graduation, at NIT Calcutta, I used to be very active in all the clubs and cultural activities and dance team and the dance and dramatics and ragam and tattva and everything. But I always used to wonder, how will I start working in a technical domain? I was very good even with computer science and coding and things, but I always used to wonder, I will never love it. And in final year, I had the subject called Human Resource Management, and Dr. Sudarshan was taking it. He is the head of School of Management Studies there. So I fell in love with this, and I was like, wow, if there is a subject, if there's a profession where you can deal with people on a day-to-day basis, that's wonderful. But yes, it is not always whims and fancies. There are days that you have to do monotonous stuff. But again, one thing I can say for sure is I'm very happy in this role. I feel like I'm always happily doing my part of the role. Like usually in March, April, we have performance appraisals happening. The last 2 months, I was very happy to wake up in the morning and do it, right? So anybody who understands, or what is your basic understanding of HR? Anybody who can tell me what would you understand about HR, or what you want to know about HR? Can anyone tell me?
Hi.
Okay, I'll give you 2 minutes.
Yeah, hello. Hello.
All right. Okay. All right. So because there is no response, one thing I can start off is that, HR.
Anuvinda was actually responding. I think there was a net issue.
Yeah,
So
really
good.
sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. So hi, myself Anuvinda, and
Yeah.
what my imagination of HR is someone who finds the right talent for the company, and gets them in, finds the right talent which is appropriate for the company, brings them in, and then trains them, train all of them so that they can work as a team, and then do the best that they can, perform in their best way. So I guess
Right. It makes a lot of sense. I thank you. And what are you doing? You're doing BTech?
Yeah, third year.
Third year. You want to go into management sometime soon, or?
Yeah, sure.
You want to go into management?
Yes.
Okay, cool. HR specifically, or you've just read up on it?
Yeah, I've just heard what HR is, and just the general research, that's just that.
All right, but great info. And I mean, this is how the HR process starts, and this is one of the main functions that we do. But having said that, because most of you on this call are like looking forward for an entrepreneurship and want to become entrepreneurs and start your own product or service or whatever, one thing I would like to start talking about is that you should know that everybody on this call, like probably there is 54 people on this call, including me, 54 people on this call. So like all of us are already entrepreneurs, because the product that we are trying to sell, the first product that you're trying to sell is already here, which is yourself. Even if you're going to build a product tomorrow, even if you're trying to build a service tomorrow, whatever is the product or service, ultimately you should know that even if it is a marriage proposal, even if you're proposing somebody, or whatever you're trying to go for a job, whatever it is, basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to sell yourself. I don't know if that concept connects with you, but imagine in the last 5 years, okay, one of you, any of you, I'm pretty sure none of you are gonna come up and say anything. Otherwise, I would have picked an example from the group. But if, say, from your age of 15 to 20, you propose 3 people. Take this as a very light joke, okay? You propose 3 people, and 2 of them had said yes. So basically, with that 2 people, you were able to sell yourself. Even if it is a, whatever you happens on infirmary or whatever happens on this entire arranged marriage or whatever it is, basically, I feel like you're all selling yourself. That you say that you have so much of this is the education that you have, this is the kind of experience that you have, this is the kind of money that you have. You're basically selling yourself. So the product that we are trying to sell before the product that you're going to make is yourself. Even when you have a product or a service of your own, before that, for somebody to come and get your product or buy your product, you need to have a credibility of your own, right? So the first product that you're trying to sell everywhere, anywhere on a hiring platform, anywhere else, okay, is yourself. So it is about how you market yourself and how you sell yourself on a platform, right? How many of you agree with me on that? All right, so there are no answers, but that is what, yes. So I can see a lot of hands. So basically, that is what you're trying to do. You are trying to sell yourself, right? Okay. So in an HR world, I will come down to this, specifically selling yourself part. But before that, like I spoke to Anuvinda some time back, HR consists of 2 parts. Okay. One is, can we go to the next slide, Anuvinda? Yeah, okay. So basically, HR consists of 2 parts. One is talent acquisition, one is people operations. All right. Talent acquisition is more of hiring or recruitment. And the second part is more of people operations, where you engage people in a group, right? So TA is hiring, where so hiring has evolved over time, okay? But people operations is about once the person comes into the organization, how you engage them and keep them happy. For example, once they come inside, sometimes you'll have to give them soft skills training, like, interpersonal skills, client communication, things like that, all right? Also, performance appraisals, like, every year you will have an appraisal. That can be different types. What we usually do today is 360-degree feedback appraisal, where you take the feedback from the subordinates, the peers. For example, my appraisal is happening. We take the feedback from my subordinate, my superior, my peers, and then we take everything together and then we give them a hike based on their performance. Also, things like rewards. For example, you appreciate the person for the kind of work that they've done. Grievance redressal. For example, somebody is upset with something, you talk to them, you become the mentor, you become the coach, you become the counselor. And even when they're leaving, all the exit formalities and things like that is handled by you. So people operations part is where you are trying to keep people happy in an organization. And the first part is talent acquisition, which is hiring. Okay, hiring has evolved over time, because in the past, like, I don't know how many of you know, but in the past, or probably a lot of you are thinking that, we still hire from Naukri and Hirist and AngelList. Yes, we do, but it has taken a lot of difference. For example, if you look at this HRM process, you can see there's recruitment, selection. So that is the TA part. Then comes training. That can be different type: on the job training, off the job training. Then there's performance appraisal, you assess the performance of the person. So if there is something called probation period, the first 3 months of an employee's time is probation period. And if the probation period, if they do really good work, they get confirmed. Otherwise, they go into something called PIP, which is PIP, Performance Improvement Plan. Then you track their performance again. And then if they're good, you put them back into the loop. Motivation, compensation, like, payroll and appraisals and things like that. Overall health and things like that. Then also, PF and their statutory compliances and health benefits. So these are, so basically, if you ask me what is HR, HR is about TA, and then there is people operations. Okay. Now, this is HR. But in HR itself, I will come down to hiring in detail, because that is the part I think most of you want to understand. So in TA itself, I don't know how many of you understand which are the different roles that are available in an organization. Like, for example, there is a business analyst, or there's a product manager, there is a project manager, there is a QA person, there is designers. So can somebody tell me which are the different designations that that is available in the, but because I don't think a lot of you know. And it's very important that because I think a lot of kids today think that the only possible option in an IT field is becoming a technical person, front-end developer, back-end developer, full-stack developer, AI engineer, or whatever, or systems engineer, whatever. but there are lots of other management involved domains that you have where you can work. Anybody who wants to help me with that, anybody who wants to, give a response on that, saying, okay, these are the destinations. Anybody? Project lead, yes. Project lead, yes. Anybody else who wants to help me with this? Various levels of managers. Okay, cool. So I'll not take, because I want to spend the last 30 minutes on interaction. So I specifically saying, if you look at the entire business cycle, right? Hi, Amal Shaji says hi to everyone. Hi. All right. So if you look at the entire development cycle or what happens in IT, basically there's a marketing team. Okay, so there is a marketing team that does marketing for the company, because you're all trying for entrepreneurship. That's what I'm trying to say. So every entity will have a marketing team. The marketing team basically does the marketing of the product. So they will do advertising, they'll push the project, they'll put out to the external stakeholders, which is like whoever is not our employees, but the outside world is called the external stakeholders. So the marketing team puts out to the external stakeholders what products that we're doing, why we are different from the other companies, and so basically they advertise the company, billboards, advertising, social media marketing, all these kind of things. That's what marketing team does. What the sales team does is sales team goes and brings the bread and butter for the company, which is revenue operations. So they go and bring the clients. So the marketing team does the marketing, sales team goes and brings in the clients. They go talk to the clients, they sign the deal and they bring them inside. So imagine a client comes in and the client has a requirement. Okay, say the client wants to build a website. Say the client wants to build a placement platform. Okay, placement platform where people can write placements and we can get the results of it. Or it is a platform where you can do hiring, because there are a lot of HRM platforms. But the thing here is that there are lots of, for example, even if you say a placement platform, or even if you say it's a HR platform or whatever, there'll be 5 other HR platforms in the market, right? So there comes a picture of a business analyst or a product manager. So basically the product manager goes and understands which are the different products available in the market, and he'll help us make our product the best, so that this product will have a higher USP than the USP is unique selling proportion, right? This product will have a higher USP or unique selling proportion than the other products in the market. So this will sell. For example, I'll give you a simple example about what a product. So I hope you understand what is sales. Sales basically they go bring the client, and the client has a requirement. Then comes the product manager or the BA, business analyst or the product manager. So the Gmail front page, right, where you given the Gmail ID and there is a login. So if you have seen near to the password, there is a small I. In fact, even if that I is not there, it's absolutely fine. But that I is there. When you click on the I, you can see what is the password that you type, right? So when it's actually making the entire product more user friendly. So that is the kind of work that a product manager does. So basically what the product manager does is he makes the product more viable, and he adds more features to the product that makes the product more user friendly, right? So the user finds it very easy to use the product. So the better the product is, and the more user friendly it becomes, right, it becomes more viable in the market. So you have a higher competitive advantage than your other competitors in the market. So that is the work of the business analyst or the product manager. So there'll be usually after the sales, the client comes in, usually we have a call. On that call, there will be the sales team, there'll be a senior technical person, there'll be a project manager, there'll be a product manager, and then there'll be a design person. Okay. So what happens on this call is the client has a requirement. The product manager comes in and he collects the client's requirements. Say, for example, okay, the client wants this on the web page. The client wants this on it. He wants to input this, and this is what he need to get. So these kind of things is what the product manager brings in. Then what happens is the project manager comes into the picture. Then there is a project manager. So the project manager, what basically he does is for each project, for each client, he decides the number of team members or the number of employees that needs to work on a project, at what time it has to be delivered, what is the ETA to deliver the project, and all these kinds of things. So that is what the project manager does. And he is also a centerpiece between the technical team and the the client's team. Then there is a design team. So basically, just like when you build a house, you have a blueprint of how the house looks like. Okay, this design team will go and build a blueprint of how the web page is going to look like once it is done. Okay, so all these people sit and discuss. So now we have already seen marketing, we have seen sales team, we have seen product manager, we have seen project manager, then we have seen design team. Okay, then this design would go into the technical part, where the technical people will do the front end development, the user friendly, the user side of the things, and the back end of the thing, right? For example, if it is imagine if it's painting of a car. So the front part is basically, they decide what should be the color and the look of the car, and the back end team basically colors the car red or whatever. So that is what the front end team and the back end team does. So the technical team does the technical part. Then there is a QA team. So once the entire code is done, there is a QA team that comes in and says, okay, these are the bugs in the code. So all the errors, or they find out all the mistakes that the development team has made while they have made the code. But yeah, and then that is quality assurance team. So there is QA also. All right. And then once a QA is done, it goes back into production or demo, where we go back to the client, gives a demo. And then if the client is happy with the product, we can go forward with it. Otherwise, we come back and make whatever changes that we need. So this is the entire cycle. So now you will ask me what the HR does in this. So this entire game happens on one side, okay? On the other side, while this process goes on, we need more resources. Like we need more HR people, we'll need more technical people. There'll be fights regarding the project pressure. There'll be issues regarding, that they're working overtime and they need more money, or issues between the leads and the juniors and all kinds of things. So this entire, show is run by HR. They go there and make sure that things happen properly, and then there are enough resources to run the show and these kind of things. So I gave you an understanding of the entire, how it happens in IT. Even if it is not in IT, even whatever product you're trying to sell, you will need a marketing team, you need an HR team to bring in your policies and things like that. And how you basically how QA person, yeah, he does not involve in development, but definitely the QA person figures out what is, the mistake in the development. For example, the coding is done. If there are any bugs or errors, that is figured out by the QA. All right. So they don't do development, but QAs usually, as an upskilling, they come back to development in the future. You can always upskill to that role. Sometimes HRs become project managers in the future. So just like that, QA person do upskill as developers. If they have the interest, they can learn and upskill. But otherwise, no. But they're very much involved in the entire cycle. So like I said, there is a marketing team, there is a HR team, there's a sales team, then there is a design team that designs the entire thing. They do the UI UX part of things. Then there is a project manager, that he's a middle person between the technical team and the client. Then there is a product manager that is also a middle person between the client and the technical team. Then you have the technical team, and then you have QA. When we take agile mode of development, we don't have a written no, we don't have. So today, what happens is we are trying to put everything in agile, because if this is not agile, what happens is a lot of times the requirements keep changing. So that is usually, even when we had appraisals last 2 months. So if it is not agile, what happens is the client requirements keep changing. But the thing is, what we all don't understand is, see, ultimately everybody on this call wants to build their product, right? So you will keep reading new things. So probably if Aditya is the one, in time he'll feel like, okay, I want to add this feature also on my product. I want to add this, this other feature also. So when the client comes back and tells you this, I want this feature, at a later point you have to work on it. And also development is not something that ends at one point. For example, we have given the product and they're happy with it and it's working. The client can always come back and say that, okay, I want this feature also on my product. So agile works. But agile means, so for everybody who doesn't understand, agile is basically, you are following a particular process where you stick to the requirements and work around it. Like the client has a certain amount of requirements and you work around it. But in agile, you should also understand that client requirements will keep changing because it is a product. And then they will need new features. So you have to keep adding new features. So I think I slightly deviated from my topic. I just want to give you an understanding of which are the different teams that we have. Okay. So basically HR does hiring for all these roles. We do hiring for all these roles, but what has changed? So I'm going to focus only on the hiring part of things, right? Can you come to the next slide, Ganga? Life cycle, yes, life cycle. I think you have got it. Like you can come to the next slide. That's fine. Next slide. Okay. So this is basically the entire hiring model. So for example, not the hiring model, the entire, we already discussed, like for example, once a person comes in, hiring, onboarding, training and development, employee policies, employee compensation, performance management, employee engagement, rewards and recognitions, exit. It seems to become a good HR with all technical, it takes some long time, like, see, you should know that I am touching 3 years in HR. I started as an SAP consultant actually. So I joined in as an SAP consultant. I don't regret it because, when I finished my studies and things like that, I wanted to do UPSC. So I was doing that, and then I got a couple of offers, and so everybody told me take up, SAP because it is a niche field and you have a lot of scope and you can go do things outside. And so then I was okay, then let me just do it because it sounds very cool. But I was never sure of SAP. I went in, I tried, and I came back. After a couple of months, I quit because if you don't do something that you love doing, especially in your career, you will regret it at some point of time, and you won't be happy. At least for me, if for somebody to progress in their career, you need to have a passion towards what you do. For example, I'll tell you a simple example. Like last 2 months, every year, March and April, we have appraisals. Okay, so this time the entire performance appraisal was handled only by me. I don't know, every day morning, I'll be so happy to wake up and do appraisals because, every day, basically appraisals is like, you will have a team meeting, you will have personal discussions with people, and then you will talk to all their subordinates, peers, superiors, and everybody. You'll have calls with them, and then you will try motivating people also. And then you have to release their offer. So usually after the appraisals happen, usually a little bit of attrition happens. Attrition as in people might leave, people. So these are the reality of what is happening on the HR side. For example, after appraisals, when people get hikes, they tend to leave. When they get a hike, they tend to look for a different job. So we always wait for that wave. There is a wave of attritions that happen after appraisals. So I was always on eggshells, like till appraisals got over, I was always on eggshells, like, who are going to leave or what is going to happen. But this time the appraisals went really well and we are very happy. Everybody's very happy. And one thing about startups is that you should know that a lot of MNCs, the percentage of hike is around 5 to 10% annually. But in a startup, the percentage of hikes that happens is between 20 to 40%. Is attrition by COVID? No, actually by COVID, attrition has gone low because people are very scared that they lose their jobs, and a lot of companies have been sending out people. So no, like, people have only been trying to stay back. But in IT, I think there is a boom because if you look from a management perspective, COVID has done only good because there is no food that you have to give, there is no cab services that you have to give, nothing of that sort. The only thing is internet service and things like that. And I was coming out to the point, startups do give good hikes. Yes. So I stepped back from the point. So let me just come to the point, the next slide. So yes, so in hiring specifically, so the main topic that we're discussing, just next slide. Yeah, the paradigm shift in HR, right? So how HR has, so I think you have got a small idea about, so in the last 20 minutes, probably we'll stop and we'll have the interaction part. All right, so how TA has changed over time is basically in hiring. Before, like we discussed, people would come, we'll ask, like, for example, there's something called JD, job description, which you see, like, we need a 7-year-old experienced person or 5-year-old experienced person in Python or whatever. That is the JD that you see. So that is of 2 types. Yes, resume-based interview shortlist. Yes. So there are 2 types. There is job description and job specification. So job description is basically, for example, if Thomas is going to be the HR person tomorrow, the job description would be Thomas has to do the performance appraisals every year. Thomas has to do employee engagement every year. These are the roles that Thomas has to do. And there is job specification, just the SKAs that the person needs to have to do the job, which is the skills, knowledge, and abilities the person, or the credibility that the person needs to do the job. That is, for example, that he needs to have an MBA, that he needs to have 5 years of experience, that he needs to be having this. But this is how we had looked at hiring at one point. Now things have changed. Why? Because in the last decade, we used to send out JDs, get the CVs from like Naukri or wherever, and people would send in their resumes. We'll shortlist it and then we'll take people. But now that does not happen like that anymore. Because, can you come to the next slide? Yes, can you come to the next slide? All right. So like I said, you are the product that you're trying to sell, right? We discussed in the new world of hiring, you are the product that you're trying to sell. So the HR perspective is that, like there are two perspectives. So basically, my philosophy is this. For an HR, we need the best people. I was actually hiring for this role called AI engineer. So basically, I had to take the list of the entire set of AI engineers that we have in Kozhikode, Cochin, and Trivandrum. I actually have that list with me, right? I had to take the list of all these people and then specifically figure out who is the best AI engineer possibly, in Kerala, like, in computer vision or ML. I had to specifically call up people and figure out who is the best person and then work towards getting that person. This is called headhunting. This is how hiring has changed over time. So basically, for you to understand it better, I'll tell you this philosophy. Basically, if you are really good, for example, imagine Arundhati is the best person in AI available in Kerala or in Trivandrum or wherever. Okay, she is the best person in AI. She is not looking for a job. If you want the best person, and Arundhati is the best person available, she is already happily sitting somewhere with a job, with good salary, money, and or probably she's not even doing a job. She's doing some R&D or whatever of her own. She's not looking for a job. That is the biggest challenge an HR has in terms of hiring today. Because we want to get the best resource. We don't want to have mediocre resources anymore. And all those best people are happily sitting somewhere doing their job. They're not looking for a job. That is why hiring has changed. That does not mean that the CVs that comes to us are bad or anything. But having said that, if you look at an 80% of people, when people look out for a job, they really need a job. They're trying to switch. But there's definitely there's a ratio change and things like that. But mostly what I have observed is if somebody is very happily and when somebody is really, really good with something or they're a veteran in their field, they're not looking for a job. And today, that is the kind of roles for which we hire. For example, one of the main things that I work on is headhunting. So sometimes I send Jitin or CEOs or CTOs, whoever, they have to go out for a dinner or lunch or whatever with that person, figure out who their friends are, what is their positives, what is their negatives, talk to them, understand their weaknesses. And, just like how you, I don't know, how you date people and things like that, that's how you bring in people today. That is how hiring has changed over time. Because today, the entire idea of hiring is that people who are really good are happily sitting somewhere, and we need those best people, right? And then to bring them in, we specifically take customized, tailored ways to get them on board. Campus interview is definitely a type. Those are larger type of hirings. For example, that is, I wouldn't say that is headhunting. So basically, we do headhunting for specific roles. But having said that, on the other slide, the next slide, I have written it specifically from the job seeker perspective. One change I've seen in the last, couple of months. Yeah, exactly. I'm coming down to the point of hiring freshers. Today's good thing is that, there is nothing called education or the job specification specifically that you need to have an MBA, that you need to be experienced, 7 years experienced. It does not matter, because I see, especially in startups, I see because in MNCs usually you have software engineer level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. Okay, so level 1s are all paid in a certain way, their designations are same. Level 4, they're all paid in a similar way, and then their designations are same. But in startups, mostly I see that it does not matter whether you've completed your education, what is your, because literally in the last organization I worked, there was an 8th standard guy who was coming in and doing AI development. Currently in my organization, I have somebody from, I'm not picking up the college, but somebody in Trivandrum itself, he's doing 2nd year, he's doing Flutter development for us. And he's doing a phenomenal job. You won't believe it. Like, I was hiring for Flutter developers in Trivandrum, and I was finding it so difficult to get a good person. And this guy comes in and does MT, and then he cleared it, and he did it so damn well. And he's doing Flutter development for us right now. So the good part today is that there is nothing called a fresher, because the good part is all the content and everything is available online, that people actually work, they understand things, they do hands-on stuff and everything, that they are really as good as the experienced people, even better than that actually. When we go through all these GitHub and things like that, the kind of work, but there is a difference. Sometimes people push it in such a way that they're really good, but they are not really good. So the HR takes some time to figure out who has pushed it in a certain way and who are the real ones. But it is very easy to understand who the real, because they will have hands-on experience. And I have had experiences where people come in and they give me, like 2021 graduates will come and give me their CV and say, 2021 graduate with 4 years experience. I have actually questioned this 2 years back. I was like, you are 2019 graduate. How can you say you have 2 years experience? And then when he actually had 2 years, 3 years experience, he was working on an entity of his own. He had hands-on experience and he was good with what he was doing. So today there's nothing called a fresher, because only your skill set matters. How you sell yourself, how you build yourself, how you present yourself, and what is the learning that you've done. What is the homework that you basically, that is what matters. What is the skill set that you built over time? And you do not have to be having, trust me on this, a lot of people who have worked with the organization with 3 years experience might not have as much as that kind of knowledge and experience that a lot of you on this call might be having, because it comes with a certain amount of curiosity and passion and everything, right? So when you ask me campus placements and freshers, guys, I want to tell you there's nothing called freshers today, because everybody is good and everybody is as good as 10 years experienced people, because everybody is doing phenomenal job. Even when they're in school, when they're in college, they're doing phenomenal job. There's nothing called freshers. What if we convert from QA to practical exposure to the question to ask? I did not get that in interview. I did not get that. Can you just ask me that question? Can we come to the next slide? I think we are losing out on time, but I'll just come to the couple of points. All right. So I am not going to completely explain this because, I don't think we have the time. But one thing, Aditya, I'll definitely answer your question. Yeah. Let me just finish this off. So, otherwise people are gonna yeah, sure. All right. So like I said, there is nothing called freshers. But one thing that you can all start doing if you have not started yet is that it's I am really awestruck by the kind of people and juniors I meet today, because two good guys. I mean, when I meet a lot of freshmen, the kind of work that they do, it's phenomenal. So if you have not started yet, figure this out. There's something called Ikigai. I don't know how many of you have read that book. There's a book called Ikigai. If you can, please read it. It's a phenomenal book. Ikigai is actually, your reason for existence. The Japanese term, it means that your reason for existence. So, that it is the reason why you wake up every day morning. I told you, when I was doing my appraisals for the last 2 months, every day morning, there is this drive for me to wake up and start working. I was not sleeping also. This is dopamine rush, I would say. Every day morning, I want to just work and, because I was doing the entire appraisals on my own for the first time. So I was like, there was this dopamine rush for me. Every day morning, I'll be so excited to work. So if you have not started today. There's something called Ikigai, which is your reason for existence. Even if you get married, you become 30, 40, 50 or whatever, you should have this Ikigai. You should know why you are existing and what is your reason for happiness. For that, can you come to the next slide? Let's question this. Each one of us can question it. So if there's something that you love doing and that you are good at, that is called your passion, right? For example, when I was in school, I knew that I love dealing with people or talking to people and networking and things like that. I loved it and I was good at it. And that is a passion. That is definitely a passion. And what you're good at and what you can be paid for is your profession. So I was good at dealing with people and things like that. And thankfully, I can be paid for it in terms of HR. So that is my profession. All right. What the world needs and what you can be paid for is the vocation. All right. That I don't think you have to go so detailed. But again, these 3 parts, okay, this you can definitely go back and check. And also what the world needs and what you love is your mission. Okay. So imagine, let's take a simple example. You love dancing. Imagine you love dancing and you're good at dancing. That is your passion. If you have not figured, on my induction deck, I have this question. After I explain the company's philosophy and mission, I ask them, what is your vision? What is your philosophy? Couple of people do not have a philosophy. Even after like working for years and years, they don't have a philosophy in life or career. It is very important that you know your passion. So figure out what you love and what you're good at, and that is your passion. Figure out what you're good at and what you can be paid for now itself. Start now. Probably you don't have anything right now, but work towards it. And you are good at dancing and you can be paid for dancing. That can be your profession. Similarly, if the world needs dancing, a lot of dancers, and it can bring happiness to people and you can be paid for that, is your vocation. Similarly, you love dancing and the world needs dance, that's your mission. You can connect to the world through art, dancing, people engagement, lots of things. Find your ikigai. The common point of all this is called your ikigai. Very, very important. Very, very important that you understand your philosophy of life. Very, very important that you understand your philosophy in career. Because if you don't have your ikigai, right, you won't know what to do. And always listen to your heart. I mean, it is very easy to say, you would say, but I really believe that if you really listen to your heart, see, I told you I started off in SAP. I did a lot of mistakes, but I'm happy I did it. Because today when I look back and think of it, if I did not join and make all those mistakes, I'd be wondering what would have happened if I had actually taken it up. So you can make mistakes. It is the time for you to make mistakes, do it, but understand why and what and how, and understand that you are trying to sell even on an HR, interview platform. So how long can we go forward? Probably if we have to take 10 minutes extra, is that fine? Or should we have to finish by 6 specifically?
Sure, Catherine. It's fine.
All right, cool. Okay, next slide.
Please.
Yeah. Okay, so these are a couple of things. For example, I said it is very important that you sell yourself, because a lot of times what happens on HR interviews, people will come, and when I ask them to say a little something about themselves, for example, imagine I know Thomas already, okay, and then if Thomas is coming and saying that Thomas, introduce yourself, Thomas will be like, my name is Thomas, and then I'm coming from. See, if the person already knows your name, one thing, you should never say your name again. These are tips for HR interviews, okay? Never say your name again. Second thing, never practice an introduction, because today I've written on the slide also. Basically, it's just like Pendaganal and things like that. You just are figuring out if that person will vibe with the organized. For example, if I'm trying to get an Abrami or like Aditya or Akshita or Alina or Amrita or anybody into my organization right now, when I have the HR interview, the only thing I'm trying to do is vibe with her. Okay, and if she's vibing back in a certain sense, I know that this particular girl, after the technical round, after she has a skill set, but attitude is very, very important, and then communication is very, very important. So if you really vibe with that person, if you have the right attitude, the chances are high that you get the job. Okay, very, very important. So don't come in with a practiced introduction, even if you're not good with your communication skills. Be very organic. Talk like you mean it. If you don't know something, say you don't know. It does not matter. See, if you think that I know everything about HR, I don't. I'm just touching 3 years in HR, but I'm here constantly talking to you because I am okay saying, if you ask me something and if I don't know it, I'm okay saying no. Because that is what we want. We don't want somebody coming and picking it, because this person is going to be with you for like next 2, 3 or 4, 5 years, probably for the next 10 years. It is an association that you have with the person. So when we are taking somebody into the organization, we want you to tell us who you are. Have a story to say. That's very important, that you have a story. I'm this person, this is where I come from, this is what I do, and these are my weaknesses. Like, you don't have to say my weakness, but you can say, this is my story. I started here. Basically, that's what we want to know. Where is your place? It's a story. Native. Where did you study? What do you like? Where did you do college? So have a story for your own. Very, very important. And be very candid. I wouldn't say just with an HR interview. In today's world, what we are lacking is somebody who is very organic and candid. Everybody is trying to, fake it, and everybody is trying to be something else. That's not needed. You just have to be yourself. And your tribe will always attract you. If Accubits or if me or if my organization is your tribe, that's where you want to be. That is where you belong. Okay, so for you to attract your tribe, you need to be yourself. Stop faking all of it. There's no need. You just have to be yourself. Come in, say, ma'am, this is the person I am, this is what I think, and this is what I can offer. And organically it will happen. I really love when people does that, and I'm pretty sure 90% of the HRs will agree with it. So have a story to say, be very organic, find your core values, or have a philosophy, like I said, ikigai, find your ikigai, find your philosophy, know your skill set. As in, there are hard skills and soft skills. Hard skills are your technical skills. Okay, like Python, or you're good with whatever, like marketing, or which are your hard skills, like technical, and your basic graduation and what you have learned as on a technical perspective. Soft skills are interpersonal skills, communication skills, and all those kind of things, right? That is your skill set. And USP is, and also one more thing I would like to add is that today hiring has become marketing. Like we discussed some time back, just like how you market a product, right? It is just like that, how you market yourself. You need to have a unique selling proposition. What makes you different from the 10 other people who came from your college, or who came from your area, or who comes from Trivandrum, right? So you need to have a competitive advantage or USP of your own. Figure that out, what that is. Next slide. Okay. Credibility is almost like your what is your education, how you like your awards and degrees and things like that. Then tangible branding elements, my friend Megha is actually building her own website. I'm very proud of her. So just like that, you have a brand, you have a logo, you have a car, you like that all happens. If you can do it now also, if you're really good. I've not ever done it, but tangible things are, when you're really upgrading yourself, you can have a website of your own, you can make a logo and things like that. Okay, you can do that. Also, very, 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 very important for all of you, whether you are coming into entrepreneurship or trying to look out for a job, or if you are really passionate about your career, learn to love LinkedIn. Very important. Very, very important. That's why I marked it yellow, because very important. Have a good photo, have a professional photo, customize your headline, write a compelling summary, give details on your work experience, take recommendations from people who knows you really well, and add your skills and start working on it. If I can help you with it, you can ping me on LinkedIn. If you know me via LinkedIn, I can help you with it. So learn to love LinkedIn, very important. And also take up casual challenges and things like that. Be active on GitHub, because today more than CVs, we trust GitHub for technical roles. And we believe blogs and articles and Instagram pages and the kind of things people have written than a CV. And also keep networking, not just for hackathons and communities. Keep in touch with people, because all your friends today, in 10 years or 5 years time, they're all going to be in different places. So keep networking. It's very important that you're with people, and then old people, new people, always keep networking. Also on LinkedIn and otherwise, make your own content, make your own, write something of your own, write whether it is on LinkedIn or Instagram or as blogs or your own personal blogs or whatever, make something of your own. Also, depending on what you're working for example, if it is on entrepreneurship, it is a, if it is a soap making or things like that, probably, or clothes and things like that, Instagram will be a better option. If it is something else, it will be GitHub. If it will be, based on that, based on what is your product and what you're trying to sell, whether it's yourself or the product, decide your social network also and focus on that and work towards it. All right. Next slide. Have I written anything more? All right. HR interview, I already told you. I think I already told you HR interview, that we want to listen to your candidate stories. Can you come to the next slide? All right. So that is all what I have to say, but I think I spoke too much. Usually I never do this, and I always love it when I have a two-way communication. I really love to interact with people, and I'm very sad that I lost out on being friends with 55 people on the call. But I really love, being in touch with people and getting to know people. So any questions for me? Any questions?
Thank you, Catherine, for that. Participants, if you have any queries, please feel free to ask the speaker over in the chat box. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Aditya. You had one more question that you wanted to ask. If I know the answer, I'll give you. I did not really understand what that question was. Any more questions?
Catherine, I think we have a question.
Yes.
What motivates you? What habits help make you successful, or what mindsets help make you successful? It's a question I received.
Okay, so I think it is just being myself and not taking yourself so seriously. I really mean it. When you take yourself so seriously and you think that you're this person and you have this ego, it does not work. Because, being an HR, you can never do that. Because sometimes a fresher will just come in and just say that, ma'am, I'm not okay with this. Oh, I have to leave. And, I have more self, because mostly today, everybody is very pampered. Like everybody's pampered and, parents never, even in my case. Okay. So, you're very pampered and you can't, when people say this is not okay, that is not okay, you can't deal with it. So I'll have to take a back step and I have to say, I have to come down to their level and then, talk to them. So I would say, don't take yourself so seriously. And, that you have to feel like, okay, I need to know everything. I need to be this person who is super, cool, and you can be super cool, but try to be somebody, take yourself a little lightly. And I think that helps a lot. Don't have a lot of ego, it's just a small little world and small little life that you have. So just be here, be happy for what you have, and then, just don't take yourself too seriously. So I think that is what helps me. And what motivates me is the fact that, I really love my job. And I'm really thankful to whoever that is, that I'm really thankful because, I believe that even when like I said, I always wanted to have a really good family and become a mother and all these kind of things. Having said that, I'm soon to get married, but the point coming down to that, even though I want to do all these things, you should understand, even when you're married, when you have kids and everything, you need something that drives you forward every day, right? You need something that motivates you to wake up every day morning and feel pumped up to do something. So one thing I realize is that even when you have bad days at home, work always helps you get better. So what is the question? So I think that motivates me, that the fact that I love what I do, that helps me a lot. As you said, in startups, there's nothing as fresh as. However, in MNCs and traditional companies, all these things still matter. Will there be shift in this structure in the near future? Slowly everything has started changing because, ultimately people have to change because because imagine somebody has 10 years of experience, but somebody who's come in with 2 years of experience is doing much better, a phenomenal job than that person. Definitely we have to take in that person, right? So I think slowly things are changing even with MNCs. But again, the thing with MNCs is you should understand, see now my organization is 200 people. MNCs it is like 5,000 people. Okay, so if one of those people feel bad, it can affect the foundation of the company. So they don't want to leave a bad mark. So that is also a reason why probably people are, sticking to such levels and things like that. As a woman, how challenging has it been for you to overcome your competition and to maintain your stand in various situations? Does gender bias? Yes, I would say if it is a very, I don't lie. So gender bias still exists, but trust me on this, if you're really good with what you do, nothing, see, I always tell everybody, I am not scared that, I lose my job tomorrow because I know what I bring to the table. So if you know what is your worth, if you know what you bring to the table, you're never afraid because if not this, I always know that there is something else for me because I am good at what I'm doing. At least if nothing else, I'm pretty sure I'll do something of my own. So I think that, so gender bias and all these things, it is there, yes, but usually most roles for freshers from an IT company is technical roles. How to get into a role related to management? Okay, so I don't think an MPA is very, very necessary for, and one thing I want all of you to understand is there's nothing called, today it's a world where education does not matter a lot. I mean, see, also, I'm not giving you the wrong idea. 2 examples, okay? I have a lot of people from CET. I've seen actually in like real life examples, CET who are dropouts, but doing phenomenal job with their coding, not just from CET, but I see people who are dropouts doing even, most of the CEOs and people like that, they don't have a graduation or things like that. Both the startups I work with, the CEOs are not like, they are not like people who have like so much of, MBAs and masters and things like that. But again, I don't think it is an era where your skill set matters more than your education or whatever. So if you want to come into management, I would say you have to start up with a small internship or something if it is not for an MBA or management, whichever. For example, if it is marketing or sales or HR or BA, start with a small role in a company, like for an internship or a trainee kind of a role, and learn. Okay, never look at the salary because learning is very, very, very important, and that practical exposure that you get. So learn from somebody who's good, have a mentor. Very, very important. So if you can do that, I think slowly you can get into the role. Get in touch with me, whoever asked me that question. Probably we can help you. I can help you. Lavanya, I can do that. Thanks for the wonderful question. Can you suggest what can you do after BTech to get into product management organization? Like I said, I don't think masters help you a lot more than your actual hands-on experience. So try to get a trainee or an internship role into business analyst role or product management. It will help you a lot. So get into product management, have a mentor, even on LinkedIn, figure out good product managers, and then ask them, can you be, but I don't know how many people actually turn up, but you can have a mentor, so you can talk to them. And if any of you want to have management advices, feel free to reach out to me. We can have a call or discussion and do that. I would love to do that. Product management, I don't know how much I'll be able to help, but I think look out for a trainee role or an internship. Neha. Okay. Can somebody read out these things? Because I'm finding it very difficult.
Sure,
What-
ma'am, I'll read it for you.
Yeah,
Sure,
what
guys.
does Neha have asked? Yeah. Okay.
Ma'am, is there any particular website of stuff like that so I can learn more about HR? She wants to learn more about HR, so she's asking for any particular site that would help her.
There is no specific sites, but see, when you say learning about HR, right, Neha, I can probably tell you HR is more of experience and what you bring outside rather than, for example, when I was in my last organization, as part of employee engagement, I did convocation for the entire company. I don't know how you guys are reacting, but I did convocation for the entire company. Like basically how you give certificates after convocation for, after you graduate after 4 years. I did convocation for the entire 150, 156 people. Why I did this? Because, I feel like everybody gets better after 1 year. I feel like we all get better in our skill set after a year. So being an HR is mostly like thinking out of the box. It is already within you. Only a couple of basic things that you need to learn about HR, and that is already available anywhere on Google. Like what is the basic HRM process, and it's very simple. If I can help you with that. So HR is mostly, whether it is marketing or HR management roles, it is mostly about who you as a person is rather than what you learn. So learning about HR, only a couple of basic things that you need to understand about HR. Otherwise, it's all pretty simple. But what makes HR and marketing and all these roles different is who you are as a person. Like, for example, you go into a room and how you move somebody's mind, how you change somebody's thought. You come up with thought-provoking ideas, thinking out of the box, thinking non-cliche. I think that is what matters. So Neha, if you want help, I can give that. And also learning about it, Google it, all the HR stuff is available online. And you can go and check out YouTube videos also on HR. There are a lot of good. You should know that I am not somebody who, because I have taken an MBA, I don't usually, I do research. Yes, I go through the Google leaders. They give a lot of talks regarding HR that you can listen to. Yeah, the Simon Sinek and things like that. So it's basically, you see, when you say HR, it's mostly about leadership rather than being an HR. I would say that a good HR can also be a good CEO if you know a little bit of tech. So yeah, so I think you need to learn more about leadership. And also I can help you. Ping me on LinkedIn.
Okay, moving on to the next question, we have how to get into HR if you have done your BTech.
If you want to do an MBA, you can do that. Otherwise, go for a trainee role or an internship role.
Okay. What has been the general feedback about the quality of the current day graduates? What skills must graduates develop?
Skills, that's what I said, like what you want to do. For example, if you want to do HR, you need to get an internship or basic understanding of HR. You need to learn about it. Just read up about it, and if you really like it, only if you like it, start with an internship or a training role. Because why I say that is specifically because more than your reading, whatever you learn theoretically is not what is your practical role. It is very different. So it is very important that you have hands-on experience. So if you want to get into HR after BTech, it's pretty possible. Just come in for an internship. Go in for an internship and have a mentor, somebody who's willing to take up, talk to you and things like that.
Being an engineering student, what piqued your interest in this domain? Was there a plan B?
what piqued my interest in this domain is I told you, I was very active. I was the if I was there in Joint Secretary for Computer Society of India. I was the senior executive in Dance and Dramatics Club. I was very active during Ragam Tattva and like all these kind of things. So basically, somewhere I figured out that I like dealing with people a lot. So that's how I figured out I like this. And also when I got to know there is a subject called human resource management, I was like, now there's no looking back. I'm gonna do it, and because so the thing is, but again, on a practical note, I want you guys to know that whichever role that you take up, AI engineer, technical role, full stack developer, HR, marketing, whatever, there are a couple of monotonous work that you need to. And that's like part and parcel of everything that you do. So there will be a couple of things that you need to be doing every day. But having said that, as long as you love something that you do, for example, Aharsh from Accubits, I think he really likes reading upon and meeting new people and clients and talking about this product and things like that. So it's basically about your interest. So for me, meeting new people, listening to their story, sorting out things for them always worked. So plan B, no, I don't think there was any plan B. Yeah, I mean, first of all, you should know that I'm somebody who just goes with the flow. There is no plan B. I wanted to go abroad and study. So I had actually applied for my master's in Canada, again, a double master's in Canada and things like that, but I dropped it. There's no other plan. I just go with the flow. Is HR a hectic field? Yes, baby. HR is, it's not just HR, anything that you look into is definitely see, that's what I said, if you really like something, you never feel it's hectic. It depends upon your interest in that particular domain. So if I like HR, whatever time I have to spend to it, for me, basically it is something that I love doing. So it does not matter. But if you hate it, you're like, it's getting too hectic. So yes, it gets hectic. For example, during appraisals for 2 months, I've not pretty much slept because, it is a very, like you have to talk to people, motivate them, be very careful with what you say, on the calls, because, I'm not telling you guys because for an HR, when you're on appraisal call, it's very important what you say, because people will be keenly observing what is that you say, because it is about their last 1 year performance. So they'll be keenly listening to every word that you say. So that can motivate them, demotivate them. So whatever you say will affect them. So like I said, it's like a mother. So when you are talking to your kids, sometimes you have to be very extra careful, right? So just like that, I have to be very careful about the words that I choose, the tone in which I say. So that way, and also, yes, I have not slept properly for a month. So yeah, sometimes it gets hectic, but it does not feel hectic for me because it is like my, I guess, ikigai, and that's something I love doing. So it doesn't matter.
We have another interesting question. If you were given a chance to start something of your own, what would it be?
Something of my own? Actually, I have something of my own, but it's nothing serious. Like, I am literally into this Ayurvedic, soap making and, oil making. Like, I don't know if you've heard, there's something called Nalpamaradi, Dinesha Velyadi, and turmeric. And, also I'm into Ayurveda a lot. So that was the question, right? What is the question? Like, if I have to start something, yeah. So I really have started something called CATLI and cashew nuts. So I probably want to start something like that, some Ayurvedic kind of product. But HR will also always be with me. It won't go anywhere because I love that domain a lot. So I don't go anywhere. And I'm also looking to, I had actually planned with Michael from Kerala Startup Mission for a startup, for an HR, startup. So we had its discussion, but meanwhile, I had actually taken a break from my other roles to start that particular entity. I did not want to talk about it because, I have all these and the vishwas of, like you say, that if you talk about something, it does not happen. But having said that, I had spoken about it, but then I got a very good role, and so I just took it up. And COVID and everything happened together. So I was supposed to be starting it last year, but in next 5 years, yes, definitely one, a new startup in HR, and also I want to do this Ayurvedic, that product line also. Yeah, so that is what I want to do.
What is that quality HRs look in someone's LinkedIn profile while filtering if multiple people have same technical skills?
I would say it's mostly the content that I put up. not the recommendations, because sometimes I feel like even recommendations, and also recommendations, yes, if it is very genuine ones. See, sometimes people tend to get recommendations from random people and it will back by them, because for a really good HR, if they go through the profile, really good HR in the sense, somebody who knows the industry really well, when they go through the site, they'll understand if it is a genuine one. So sometimes people overdo it and it becomes a problem for them. So what we look into in a LinkedIn profile is that probably they have written very good technical contents and things like that. And it might be things, somebody who knows tech will understand, is this something that is copied from somewhere? So the time you've put into a content creation, the videos that comes with it. You can write that you're an AI engineer, and then you can also put up the kind of work that you've done, like your what you've published, your patents and everything, right? LinkedIn assessments and all, I don't think it does matter a lot, because I feel like a lot of people fake it. So if you have to compare between two people, I think it's mostly the content that, and also the activities that they do. How many do they read, and what is the response that they give, and the content creation that they've done, internships that they've done. But ultimately, see, if you're really interested in somebody, we call them up and talk. We'll figure them out, we'll talk to them, and we'll understand. Yeah. So in LinkedIn profiles, rather than just writing up all the skill sets that I have, you need to start writing, making your own content, and things like that. So I think that is what we look at.
I think we've come to the last question. What is the value of being good in extracurricular activities?
I think it is good that you are really good, because I was somebody like that. I was very, but the only thing is that don't get carried away like that. If you are good with extracurricular activities, make sure that you build. See, being good in extracurricular activities and not putting yourself out there for people to know that you are this person and this is what you do, does not help. So even when you're doing your set of extracurricular activities, make sure that today, like I said, it's a very competitive world. So it's very important that you put yourself out there saying, okay, whether it is Instagram or I think LinkedIn works a lot if you're looking for a right job or being an entrepreneur. It is very important that you connect with people and people know you for who you are. So you need to put yourself out there, being very candid, people need to know you, you like communities, right kind of networking, all these kind of things. So while you're doing, I tell my, the interns that I have with me, I tell my team members also, when you're doing a good work, this is IT or trick, even when you're doing the best of job, always make sure that, you let somebody know that you're doing this. Because working in silence is also, that works when you're studying, but when you're working in IT or when you're doing work like that, or you're trying to become something, it's very important that you actually put out what you do. So do that. Yeah. So thank you so much, guys. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Catherine. Thank you for answering all those questions. Thank you for taking your time.
Thank you so much.
On behalf of IEEE Kerala Section, Travancore Hub, IEEE IEEE Kerala Section, IEEE SPCET, we would like to thank you for sparing time from your hectic schedule and joining us for this session. And we would like to tell you that we are truly honored to have you here. And we truly hope that this session is truly rewarding for all these participants. Thank you for taking time out of your hectic schedule, and thank you for joining once again. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Thank you
Before
so
we all
much.
leave,
Thanks. Bye.
Before we all leave, Catherine, it would be great if everybody could switch on their cameras and we could have a quick pic.
Oh. I'm already on camera. Thank you, Surya. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Amrita. Please keep in touch. I'm on LinkedIn, so if anybody has more doubts on HR and things like that, please feel free to reach out. Thanks. Thanks, Tara. Nada. Yeah. Are you taking it right now? Please tell me also.
Yes.
Otherwise, I'll be like, also.
All right. Okay, so we'll have a countdown then. 3, 2, 1. IEEE. Okay, thank you, Catherine.
Thank you.
Thank you
so
all.
much. Yeah. Thanks, Alina.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks. Thanks. Bye.